U.S. and its 2-centuries-old democracy come out of all this weaker or stronger? Today in the France 24 debate, we're looking at the federal case against Donald Trump. And joining us from Miami, where it's all happening, France 24 correspondent Kethevane Gorjestan. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, François. Happy to be here.
From Stanford, California, David Skalansky, professor of law at Stanford University's Criminal Justice Center. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Happy to join you.
From Phoenix, Arizona, we welcome back Republican strategist Dan Hazelwood, president of Targeted Creative Communications. How are you? And joining us here in Paris, an American in Paris, Ellen Kuntz, author of Portraits of Viette, the incredible story of Kamala Harris, published in French?
French only for now.
French only for now. Thanks.
Happy to be here. Thank you so much.
The France 24 debate where you can join the point taken, Ellen Kuntz?
I'd say not so much. Then I'd be curious to hear another reason why someone who in office was uninterested in his daily presidential brief was all of a sudden so struck with the need to read, after having left office, documents that were of no interest to him in real time. So fair enough, it's pure speculation on my part. What do I know compared to other people? But we have a lot of evidence of grift. I'm not sure if we can agree on that.
All right. This, of course, will go unanswered. And certainly this question of monetizing it was not in the indictment.
No, it was not, no.
Itself. At least said Richard Nixon that it's not the crime that will get you, but the cover-up. Do you agree with Dan Hazelwood? If he just handed all this back, we wouldn't be here talking about it?
Yes, I believe that the 16 months where the FBI was coaxing him, trying to work with his legal team to get these documents back, he had many, many opportunities to do so. I disagree a little bit with Dan because he said, well, you know, he's just a show-off. But in this case, it's beyond being a show-off. When we first saw the pictures of a few documents strewn across a carpet, that was one thing. But given the volume of documents, on the one hand, and the fact that wealthy people, but also ill-intended people, can buy access to Mar-a-Lago through memberships, and the idea that there have been potentially thousands of people traipsing through, maybe
meeting. Are you
meeting.
Suggesting he wanted to monetize these documents somehow, sell them? Or?
I think it's well within the realm of possibility that this was an effort to retain some type of power. And of course, there's a real need for him to monetize whatever he can. He has a lot of evidence of running websites that are pure grift. So we know that he and his families have a track record of being grifters.
On that recording that was CNN reported on, he's on tape, he says, I have these documents. I can't show them to you because they're top secret.
Well, he couldn't show them to whoever was facing him then, but there was perhaps a different person with a different status who he'd be more than willing to show them to. So there's just a body of evidence that is really over the top, and I think this is a critical moment for Americans to step away a little bit, not so much focus on individual Trump, but ask ourselves what we're doing as citizenry if we can't agree.
Not a threat, Helen Kuntz?
It's a very serious threat. Most people know by now that we have more guns than people in America. If we're at 400 million guns for 330 million citizens, I really object to what Madam Lake is saying. What does she mean when she says go through them? What, go through them one by one? I think it's a shame that, that this kind of dog whistle to civil unrest, if not to say civil war, it's extraordinary.
Because in the United States, you place a lot of importance on free speech.
Yes, and there's an argument that says that the Second Amendment, which allows for,
the right to
bearing arms, is what we use to back up the First Amendment. And I think a lot of people in Middle America feel that way. But it's become a very strange kind of cultural trope, this need to, constantly fall back on political violence, and it's becoming normalized. And it's quite scary because at some point, something's going to break out again along the lines of January 6th, and we may be less prepared, or it could be a lot broader than expected. I'm happy to hear that, nothing is happening in Miami today, all the better. But at the same time, somebody had to make the decision to not put up barricades in Miami today. Okay, I hope that works out. If we're going to really go down with it's just Citizen Trump, and he has to be treated like everybody else. He has a Secret Service detail, but no barricades.
David Skalansky.
Or more.
Ellen Kuntz, Republicans underperforming in the midterm elections because of extremist rhetoric at times that turned to one of the reasons why they underperformed. Right now, though, when you look at the opening of this case against Donald Trump, could there be another January 6th moment in America?
Sure. And I'd have to disagree with Dan because, I beg your pardon, but I think you yourself are dabbling in some whataboutism right now. When you say, Democrats and Republicans equally bad, equally guilty here. But what we see evidence of is that Democrats are still interested in governing when they have power and trying to uphold institutions. And I'd very much like to hear the chorus of Republicans who are going to just denounce what Kari Lake said, if you see what I mean. I mean, she has a long way to speak because no one on her side is able or willing to say what she says is wrong, except from time to time Mitt Romney. So I disagree. I don't think beyond extremism, they're not interested in governing. They're interested in stoking culture wars, and it's gone quite a bit too far.
How about that deal that was struck just recently to raise the debt ceiling in Congress?
Yes, those are victories that should not be so hard won. Those types of victories used to be a lot more...
There was a compromise there between Democrats and...
Thank goodness. Yes, thank goodness. But there was so much at stake, and it had to come down to very extreme measures. So things that used to be, I'd say, run-of-the-mill congressional actions from the past are now headline news because it's so difficult to come by. And it's a shame. So it would be great to hear more Republicans absolutely come down hard and fast and serious about the words of someone like Kari Lake, who, by the way, lost.
David Skalansky, see that it is outrageous to keep military secrets in your bathroom. Is that, and are Democrats ready, Ellen Kuntz, if it's not Biden versus Trump, but Biden versus someone else?
I think Biden versus someone else is still a winning ticket. Because we have evidence that Mr. Biden can beat Mr. Trump, and he's the front runner, so it would have to be a very strong candidate to emerge, someone who could cross over the middle. That would be amazing to see. I have in my lifetime voted Republican.
We're watching as we speak live images there of the motorcade arriving in Miami. I'm just going to interrupt you for a second. Kethevane, from your vantage point, what do you see? Yeah, Ellen Kuntz, you were saying simply how you're confident that of the Democrats' chances with or without Donald Trump.
Yes, because there will be such division on the Republican side. Usually they're extremely unified behind a candidate, but my understanding, perhaps I misunderstood, Mr. Trump has made it clear that if he's for any reason not the pick for the Republicans, that he seems quite willing to go rogue. And, if I may just say, we were talking earlier about how we can fix this divide between Democrats and Republicans. I think it would be helpful for Donald Trump to stop using dictatorial language and not talk about political enemies, talk about political adversaries. That used to be the way Republicans and Democrats spoke about each other. And that was one of the many words on danger.
Because this is not a case where it'll be easy to find people who haven't heard about the case. What you're going to be looking for is people who can be fair and open-minded. And that it will take a while to find a jury that both sides feel comfortable with and that the judge feels comfortable with.
Everybody's got an opinion. David Skalansky, thanks for joining us from Stanford, California. I want to thank Dan Hazelwood in Phoenix, Arizona. Ellen